This podcast features immature people talking about very mature content and is intended only for adult audiences. Welcome, everybody, to The Pen is Mightier, the world's premiere meaning best fan fiction and erotica competition in audio format. I am your host, Paul J.P., and on today's episode we have a motley mob of carnal combatants. I am so happy to have them all here. First off, we have the host of the excellent podcast Break a Wish on the Sonar Network. It's Maddox Campbell.
Hello.
Next, we have an actor and improviser, a Second City Bob Curry alumna, and currently a featured player at the award-winning Bad Dog Theatre Company in Toronto. It's Cihang Ma.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
And, of course, lastly, we have an actor and writer whose work you will have seen on the Beaverton. It's Clare Blackwood.
Good evening, friends.
So today, these three performers are going to go head-to-head, presenting readings of erotica in hopes of winning the approval of the others. And along the way, we'll play a couple of short games for a little bit of extra credit, and at the end of the episode, we'll decide who is the champion. The theme of this week's episode is cooperation. How are you all doing today?
I'm feeling very cooperative.
I'm not.
You're
I'm
not feeling
pumped.
cooperative?
I'm ready to win.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
I feel like I should win because I'm on theme, then, maybe?
Well, you know, it's about being on theme, but it's also about who has brought the sexiest and most interesting story and who can present it in the best way.
No. Well, then it's anyone's game.
Well, we're about to find out whose game it really is, because we're going to kick things off with our first story. And I would like to hear a story presented by Maddox Campbell.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
I have a couple things to set up my story, just to be clear.
That's good. The first thing I'm going to do is I want to ask you, do you have any experience before this with fan fiction or just erotica in general?
I do, all through your show, Paul. You had a live show that existed. Before that, I had not experienced any sort of fan fiction or written any sort of fan fiction. Now, I have won your competition one time and have gone from when I just sourced the erotica to now writing it myself. So this is a self-written piece.
Yeah, you're growing. You're growing as a writer, as a performer, through the power of pornography.
I'm going deeper and deeper into this hole. And
That's beautiful. I hope that we're going to expect that kind of quality, punnery in your work.
Well, I chose a fandom that is near and dear to my heart, which is Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Ooh.
And I have a little author's note on this, is that the following story contains a number of canonical inaccuracies, and I want you to know that I'm aware of them, but have chosen to ignore them for the sake of this story. Okay? So enjoy this.
I don't accept this.
I mean, not for nothing, but if you are going to include an author's note about canonical inaccuracy, it is going to have to be in front of a Star Trek story.
All right. Is everyone ready then? Shall I begin?
Absolutely.
Please.
Captain's log. The Enterprise has been called to patrol the very edge of the Federation space after reports of a possible Borg incursion. Though I have strong personal feelings about another possible encounter with the Borg, I must endeavor to hide these feelings from the crew. Picard paced the width of the deck twice. He sat in his chair, crossed his legs, then stood up and began pacing again. Mr. Worf, he barked. Any signs of Borg on long-range scanners? No, sir, nothing yet. Riker and Troy gaze. Their gaze followed him as he paced again, sat down, checked something on the armrest of his console, and then slammed it shut. I'll be in my ready room. You have the bridge, number 1. Riker gave Troy a concerned look. I know he has a special history with the Borg, but I've never seen him like this, almost jumpy. Troy nodded. It is perfectly natural to continue to...
I'm sorry.
Don't laugh at my impression quite so much. It is perfectly natural to continue to have fear when you've been through trauma like the captain has, but there's more here. He feels ashamed. I assume it's his fear, and well... Troy hesitated, looked almost bashful for a moment, and then gave a strange smile. Deanna, what is it? What do you sense from him? For some reason, Will, he's very horny. I've never sensed him like this before. Meanwhile, in his ready room, Picard was trying to cool himself off. He sipped his tea, tried to distract himself with the duty rosters, but nothing worked. His uniform felt unbearably tight. He's been a Borg once, assimilated against his will and forced to join the collective. When he was rescued, everyone offered sympathy. Counselor Troy tried to talk him through his trauma, but they didn't know what it was like in the collective. It was a 24/7 fuckfest. Beings from across the galaxy, enhanced by technology for the sole purpose of being able to fuck harder, faster, longer. The shared consciousness of the collective meant that every Borg felt every other Borg's orgasms. Over 1 trillion constant, simultaneous orgasms echoing through your mind in a cacophony of pleasure. Starfleet thought the Borg ignored their boarding parties because they didn't see them as a threat. That was wrong. Picard knew the reason outsiders were ignored was because the only reason any drone ever left the constant orgy of the lower decks was to trod back to their regeneration alcove in a post-coital daze to recharge for another go. Picard couldn't tell anyone the truth. Who would believe him? But sitting here, thinking about it, was driving him crazy. He gripped his desk, gyrated against it, tried to control his breathing. It was no use. Memories of his time, tangled in the flesh and bound up in the wires, welled up inside of him. I need you to insert a sound effect of a red alert right here.
Okay.
When the ship shook, at first he thought he'd came, but then he noticed the klaxons and the flashing red lights. He tried tucking his throbbing erection back in his waistband like an embarrassed teenager, tugging down his shirt to cover his bulge, and rushed onto the bridge. Report! They came out of nowhere, Captain. The Borg cube must have been hiding in the magnetic pole of the planet where our sensors can't penetrate. They've got us in a tractor beam. They're draining our shields. We're defenseless. Hail them. He turned to his crew and, with uncharacteristic smile and a wink, said, I'm going to try something strange, but just go with it.
God.
He paused before continuing. It might get weird.
Oh, no.
Worf opened the channel. The inside of the Borg cube showed on the main viewer, and their collective voice began to speak. We are the Borg. You will be assimilated. Resistance is futile. Yes, it is I, Locutus of Borg. I've come home, baby, said Picard, his arms wide. There was a short pause. And then the Borg Queen appeared on screen. Locutus, honey, I've missed you. Where have you been all this time? We've never been the same since your cultural kinkiness was added to our own. It's been forever since I heard your thoughts and felt your big, hard... Never mind that. I'm here now. No need to attack the Enterprise. Why don't you all join us? I'll create an opening just for you, Enterprise. The Borg Queen winked. Sir, said Data, sitting at Ops, the Borg cube is reconfiguring its hull to have a vertical chasm exactly 463.73 meters in height. Data tilted his head in curiosity. The exact width of the Enterprise. The Borg Queen leaned back on the main viewer and spread her legs wide. Come on, Locutus.
Jesus.
Get that big, hard tritanium ship inside me.
Oh, no.
Helm, roll the ship 90 degrees. Set a course into that chasm. Full impulse. Everyone on the bridge lurched as the ship plunged forward. In seconds, they were tossed back in the opposite direction as the Enterprise's hull rubbed against the sides of the Borg crevasse. Riker had had enough. Helm, reverse course. You will not, countered Picard. He leaned back in his captain's chair, hand down the front of his uniform, panting in ecstasy. You will listen to your captain. Send us deeper. Deeper! Riker tore the helmsman from his post and set a reverse course, but Picard was on him in seconds. They fought over the helm, sending the ship in and out of the Borg cube. With each insertion, the queen on the main viewer screamed louder and louder. "I feel all of you inside me," she squealed. Finally, Picard struck Riker across his smug jaw and sent him sprawling. Free at the controls, he diverted all power to the engines and drove the ship with tremendous force. When the ship finally ground to a screeching halt, 10 forward was poking out of the back side of the Borg cube. The Queen came, and as she gushed, so did the cube. Drones from all over the ship were ejected into space and splashed against the Enterprise's hull. Through broken windows or tearing through the hull, the drones flooded every deck from engineering to the bridge. And as they entered the bridge, Picard noticed that they were different than they had been when he had first been assimilated. Their bodysuits were skimpier, the cables and wires that linked their systems tighter, pressing and binding against their athletic bodies. Most notably, the augments on their hands, normally metal claws or blinking phase modulators, had been replaced with devices of pleasure covered in soft silicone and vibrating rhythmically. The Borg had adapted to match the most deeply buried sexual fantasies. Picard did not know what the future held. Was this the first step towards true peace with the Borg? Or were they all about to be assimilated or killed? But what he did know was that everyone on this ship was getting a good fucking tonight. The end.
Oh, man.
Wow. Wow.
Very nicely done.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I guess it was more ship on ship than person on person, but...
Listen, if Harry Potter can do giant squid on castle, you can do ship on ship.
Whoa, I gotta read that. I didn't know that.
Oh, Cihang, just you wait.
That's a classic one.
Mm-hmm.
And, there was ship on ship. There was Picard on the side of a table.
Yeah.
There was a lot going on there. There was a lot to enjoy.
Yeah.
To be clear, the canonical inaccuracy was that the Borg Queen didn't actually exist in the collective when Picard was first assimilated, but ignore that. It's better if she was there.
See, I thought it was the fact that the Borgs had dildo hands. That's my bad.
I mean, I think that's plausible. I just think that could be just something that's not on screen, but it's definitely happening, just off screen.
Got it.
It just hasn't been confirmed by the series creators.
Understandable. They're holding out on that one.
They just won't put it on network TV, but it's there. It's
That's a
implied.
Valentine's Day episode.
Exactly.
I just loved Claire. Instead of laughing, she'd be like, "No."
And that is my relationship to erotic fiction in general.
Okay, well, we'll be hearing more about Claire's relationship with erotica in general later.
Yes, you
We
will.
certainly will. But before we move on to our next story, I have devised a little game that we're going to play. It is called Fill That Gap.
Oh, no.
Oh,
What?
Oh my gosh.
Here's how the game works. I'm going to start reading a line from one of my own personal favorite pieces of fan fiction. And then you are each going to give me your best guess as to how you think the line finishes.
I love
oh,
this.
fun.
So our first line is, despite having dated for nearly 4 years by now, Hermione has not allowed Ron to fuck her. Only blank. Who wants to hazard a guess?
Oh.
Finger her asshole?
Wow.
That's my guess.
Only allowed her to Wingardium Leviosa his wand.
Oh, that's so
Okay.
good.
I'm not sure of the phrasing, but I think it's something to do with putting the wand inside her.
You're going for more of a clever angle there, which I appreciate. But I
Not
think
me.
we're gonna give the point to Cihang on this one. Because the
Wow.
whole line is, despite having dated for nearly 4 years by now, Hermione has not allowed Ron to fuck her, only lick her on Sundays.
Oh.
Wow.
Why the
okay.
day of
I
the
don't-
week?
okay, I'll
is
take
I feel
part
like
of
that's
that
not
line?
canon.
Probably not, but you never know.
Someday.
Our second line is from a Star Wars story set during Rogue One And the line is, "I know that you killed my wife." And in response, "Your wife was as useful as blank."
My midichlorian count.
Okay.
I realize that's not sexy, but
I'll say that the actual answer is not sexy.
Oh,
So a broken droid? Is it just a Star Wars thing? A broken is useless as a broken
As
droid?
a broken droid, okay.
a dead lightsaber dick. Like an off one. Okay, I'm not going to explain myself.
You don't have to explain yourself. And to be quite honest, I might have accidentally misled you all by saying that it was a Star Wars thing, because it is a Star Wars story, but the finish of the line doesn't really have anything to do with Star Wars. The full line is, "I know that you killed my wife. Your wife was as useful as a delicious yolk in an indestructible egg."
What?
wow, that's convoluted. Like that's like a
I feel like it's a compliment.
Well, no, because
I
you can't
know.
get at the
You
yolk.
can't
It's not a
get the
compliment.
delicious yolk.
yeah.
I guess it's a backhanded compliment because it's still a delicious yolk.
You have to tell the writer that, like, if you're going to insult somebody, it can't take them 30 seconds to puzzle through it.
Sorry, you'd like
Yeah,
me
honestly,
to tell
I
the
would love to
writer.
be called that.
Send them a message. Send them little
Hey,
message.
Cihang, you're a delicious yolk inside of an indestructible egg.
Oh my god, I'm so hot.
Yes. So that's how I flirt with people.
Oh yeah, I'm taking
We
that. seat.
figured it out.
And also, wait, whoever describes a yolk as delicious, I'm suddenly getting caught up on this because, like, you'd cook it and then it wouldn't be yolk anymore. It'd just be eggs.
Well, it's still the yolk part of the
Yeah.
egg. It's just cooked.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's weird, Mr. fucking android cyborg with dildos for hands.
That all made perfect
Like,
sense.
we
to
didn't
me.
just get 10 minutes into your inner psyche.
Yeah.
I don't think it's weird. You guys are weird for thinking it's weird.
You guys are
Okay,
weird.
I've got one more line for Fill That Gap, and it's from a story called Sonic High School. And the line goes, "Rouge's vagina looked like blank."
A delicious egg inside. No, shit. I fucked it up. Damn it.
I mean, these are always written by people who don't know anything. Like a hot dog bun, I don't know, something dumb.
Okay, a hot dog bun, we have delicious egg.
Her vagina looks like the sound waves my pussy makes when you put something in it.
Abstract, I like it.
I'm trying to go for a pun this time.
No, it sounds like a rupee poem.
Oh my god, thank you.
That's an even better compliment than being told that you're a delicious yolk in an indestructible egg.
Keep it coming. I'm loving it.
So the actual line is, "Rouge's vagina looked like a surprised ghost."
What? That's the last thing I would say.
Who sneaks up on ghosts? I really appreciate that that's your takeaway from this.
I mean, they tried to at the beginning of Ghostbusters. And
Right.
if Rouge's vagina looked like that ghost, then,
She needs to see a gynecologist?
probably, yeah.
Right.
All right. So that was Fill That Gap. And I think, who's going to get the bonus points from this one? I think I'm going to give bonus points to Cihang.
What?
I think she's the only one you gave any points to.
I'm paying everybody to be nice to me. Just so y'all know.
Damn it.
All right, Cihang, you're going to take those bonus points and you're going to try and add them to some actual points. Because next, I would like to hear your story.
Okay, get ready, everybody. I did write this by myself, and this is the first fanfic I've ever read. Like, because of this podcast, I started looking stuff up and everything. So, I'm excited to make my debut.
Amazing.
It had been a week since Dorothy clicked her heels and whirlwinded back to Kansas with her dog Toto.
Oh,
The
boy.
Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion were sad to see her go, of course, but were so happy to have not only returned safely to her home, but with her newly realized brain, heart, and courage. Over the next week in Oz, all was well. Everyone lived quite happily. In Dorothy's time, she had melted the Wicked Witch, which disbanded the army of flying monkeys, which resulted in no more pillaging and thus an overall higher quality of life for all of Oz's residents. The Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Lion mostly filled their days lounging in the potent poppy field, snorting its seeds to get high, and making small talk. One day, while they were about to plop down for a group nap in the poppy field, they discovered something odd. Something bad. The field was starting to wilt. This was bad because, you see, the poppies, as far as they knew, was the only source of a psychoactive trip in Oz, and though no one had yet said this out loud, it was the only way to cope with the depression that befell them after Dorothy.
Oh, God. Jesus.
Out of the whole field, they were down to their last square meter of poppy. And yes, the poppies died square meter by square meter. So this was really not good. There must be a way to cure and regrow the poppies, cried the Scarecrow, racking his glistening, moist brain for an idea. We only need to love one another and live on the memory of our love for Dorothy, reasoned the Tin Man, holding his hands on his big breasticular heart. Look, we're not going to solve anything just sitting around, so I'm just saying I'm willing to do whatever it takes to solve this problem, roared the Lion with his red-hot, throbbing courage. The three pondered in silence for a moment, gazing helplessly at their square meter of poppy. You know, began the Scarecrow, to be honest, I'm supposed to be having great ideas now with my big wet brain, but the juices just aren't flowing. Yeah, agreed the Tin Man. Now that we're rationing our poppy seed, I can no longer hide my sad feelings. Yeah, and I really miss Dorothy and Toto. Well, Toto, mostly. To be honest, I've been wet dreaming about that yappy, sexy little angel every day, said Lion.
Jesus.
Oh, is that why you sleep so much more than us and always alone in a corner? Said Scarecrow.
No.
The Lion nodded. I only wish I had the courage to go find Toto for real and tell her how I really feel. The three of them paused for a moment, contemplating. Well, Dorothy and Toto are gone, began Scarecrow, so it's just three of us. So let's go find more poppy seeds to keep us going. How hard can it be? Tin Man and Lion agree. And so the three of them set off down the yellow brick road. The Tin Man begins to sing. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful wizard. Wait, the wizard's gone. Yeah, he was useless anyway. Remember that whole curtain thing? Replied Scarecrow. How could I forget? My baby girl Toto's spark of genius, smiles the Lion. So what do we do? Let's go see the flying monkeys. I hear there's a band of them at the tower. Okay, sounds good. Okay, should we sing? The three start singing. We're off to see the monkeys, the wonderful flying monkeys. But it just didn't sound right. Because they're terrible singers and were without Dorothy to work in harmony. It was going to be a long road ahead. After a day's walk, they reached the wizard's old tower. Tired and hungry, they had already gone through half the remaining supply of poppy, which they brought with them. Already beginning to feel withdrawal, they bickered like not well-brought-up children. You dumb fuck! Shouted Tin Man at Scarecrow. You must be the only one who's convinced you've got a brain in that lump of hay head of yours, because I can't detect an ounce of intelligence. You selfish, heartless piece of shit! Screamed Scarecrow back at Tin Man. If you hadn't only thought about yourself with no empathy for anyone else's well-being, you wouldn't have taken so much poppy for yourself. You should have been the one melted instead of the Wicked Witch. How dare you! Stop this, both of you! The Lion tried to break up their fight, but deep down he was afraid of conflict, and this only brought out his people-pleasing self, which couldn't help any of them in this moment. All of this ruckus echoed through the tower and stirred up its evil inhabitants. A barrel of flying monkeys, yes, that is what a group of monkeys is called, about 12 of them, peered out from the shadows and spotted the three intruders. Silently, they quickly formulated an attack, and then without hesitation, they swooped in on the three, enveloping them in a swirling mass of black rubbery wings, grabbing, nipping, and pulling at the three of them, tearing at them. After about a minute, they receded and flew back into the shadows. Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Lion lay in a heaping mess, battered and bruised. They took my brain! Cried the Scarecrow, feeling his now hollowed-in straw head. And they took my heart! Screeched the Tin Man, opening and closing the metal door of his chest as if it'll make his heart reappear. And they took the last of our poppies, whispered the Lion, with barely enough sense of self-worth left, never mind courage, to make eye contact with the other two. They begin to cry, and their cries turn to sobs, and they sob so hard they fall into each other into a tangle of bodies. Their bodies heave in unconsolable sobs, then begin to heave in a rhythm, becoming more and more sexual, until they're humping each other into a climax. Their tears mix in with their sweat and drip into one another's mouths and other holes. They fuck so hard that their bodies fix into each other, the Tin Man's metal parts ripping off their hinges and snagging onto the lion's body like a shiny armor. The Scarecrow's straw sticks every which way out of the lion's mane, forming a helmet-like hat. They've become one big creature. And this creature didn't get to climax. "Damn it!" cried the creature, its voice a rumbling mixture of the voices of Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Lion. "I was so close to coming, but then the bodies getting me off became me? Ugh, I guess I'll just finish myself." But before the creature could do that, a bright light appeared before his eyes. He blinked. A figure emerged from the light. It was the Good Witch of the East. "Creature," began the witch, "you have done well. Dorothy had learned and earned her brain, heart, and courage. And you just undertook that journey as well, albeit in a slightly different way. You thought your answer was to get more poppy seed to dull your suffering, but now you have worked together to find your brain, heart, and courage by fucking until you force them together. Well, for your reward, I grant you one request. What do you want most of all?" It was a rhetorical question, for the witch already knew. She huffed and she puffed until a whirlwind formed around the creature, carrying him all the way to Kansas. The creature blinked. He had passed out. He slowly opened his eyes and looked around. He was in a field. Far off in the distance was a girl. Oh, would you look at that? It was Dorothy. The creature must be in Kansas. Then he heard a small yelp.
Oh no.
He turned. It was Toto, in all of her glory, exactly as the creature had seen her in Oz a week ago.
Oh no.
Tiny, mangy little sexy-ass thing.
Don't do this, Cihang!
They looked into each other's eyes.
I'm leaving.
He knew, and she knew, that they both knew who each other was, and that they were both in heat. The creature was still hot and bothered from before, and Toto was all for it. They both glanced in the distance at Dorothy. Her back's turned, and she hasn't seen them. They looked back at each other. "A quickie?" asked the creature. Toto agreed. He pounced on the creature and topped him for 5 minutes. The end.
Need some bleach and to hug my cat.
I think for your first ever foray into fan fiction, making some kind of weird sex Voltron that fucks dogs, it's a pretty incredible debut.
It's a bold open.
Thank you so much.
Well, I hadn't intended on having nightmares tonight, but
You should have seen this coming.
yeah, I should have. Shouldn't have let her.
Oh, I can't get over that. Just, I didn't get to come, and the creatures I was fucking became me. Ah, typical.
Was there opium in Wizard of Oz, or is that purely Chihang's invention?
There were poppy fields.
I don't remember. Oh,
There were poppy
Yeah, there
fields.
definitely were, and they were
Yeah.
sort of cutting across them to try and get to Oz instead of sticking to the yellow brick road.
Yep. Oh yeah, and then they like fall asleep.
That's exactly right.
Oh, I guess I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I guess they did get high on opium in the original. Okay, no, that's all.
I mean, that guy who's at like the front door of Oz, not nobody, not know how. He's clearly like on heroin.
He's tripping. He's tripping hard.
Oh man, that was great. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thank you for having me share this.
Cihang, I think you've inspired me to write my own for next time.
Oh, you didn't write your own? Okay.
Nope.
I'm excited.
Nope. I certainly did not.
No,
I did look up a bunch.
Claire has brought us an offering from the depths of the internet. But before we get to that, it's time for another little game.
Yay, games.
Yay.
And this one has a much less sexual name. This one's called A Rose by Any Other Name. So I'm going to give you the title of a story that I found on fanfiction.net, and I would like you to guess the fandom that it was written about.
Fun.
Okay.
Wait, what's a fandom?
So, like, Star Wars is a fandom.
Aw.
Or...
Oh, okay. I know. I know.
Aw, sweet
Okay,
Cihang.
thank you.
So innocent, so pure.
I'm sure someone else was asking that question too. She answered for them. She asked for them.
Yeah.
This podcast is intended to be nothing if not educational. So our first story title is Playtime.
50 Shades of Grey. I mean, it's already a fan in and of itself. That might be too easy.
And it was already a fan fiction originally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
My guess is Chucky.
Chucky. Okay. Pretty good guess.
It?
It?
My guess is it.
I'll say Polly Pocket.
Polly Pocket. Okay. I'm going to give that one to Claire. It was the only one that wasn't a horror franchise. It tended to be scary. It was Toy Story.
Oh, that was my second guess.
Oh.
It's a Toy Story tale about Woody and Bo Peep.
Oh.
I feel like you should stay away from children's stuff with fanfic. I don't know. Although I did do Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, so,
Yep.
you know.
Never mind. I take that back.
Also, children grow up and then they remain horny. So
They remain horny. So that was our first story. The second title that I found is Good Neighbors.
Ooh.
Mr. Rogers.
Oh, that's a good
Mr. Rogers, okay.
I can't think of something better than that. I think it's Mr. Rogers too. Sorry to steal yours, but I agree.
It's okay.
All right, we've got another guess for Mr. Rogers.
I'm going to say Bugs Bunny. Or whatever the French... Warner's Brothers?
Warner Brothers?
Cartoon?
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure how to play this one because it's not Mr. Rogers. It was, in fact, the Flintstones.
Oh.
Mhm.
So it's a cartoon.
It's a story about Fred and Barney.
And it wasn't called Stoning and Boning?
That would be better. That is better, objectively.
I think they were trying to go a little more subtle, but only a little.
Ugh.
I considered that it might be a home improvement one because it could be like Tim on Wilson.
You know, that's something I'm going to have to dig into. See if I can find a home improvement fan fiction where they use that fence in between their yards. It's like a glory hole.
Oh,
Who
no.
knows how buff Wilson is underneath? Like, we've only seen him from the eyes down. He could be jacked and naked the whole time.
He was naked the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, that's great.
I might just write that down for myself.
So we've got one more title to guess, and that title is Lust is Fluid.
Ooh.
Flubber.
And yeah, that's exactly right.
What?
Oh,
Whoa!
Is that a joke?
No, I'm not joking. It's a Flubber story.
Oh my god.
Wow!
Are you serious?
Yeah, 100%.
Holy shit.
That's such a obscure pull to come out of nowhere.
I know. I haven't thought about Flubber in 15 years.
I don't know why I thought of it.
I was going to say Aquaman, and that's like much less
I
interesting.
thought maybe Little Mermaid.
Holy
Yeah.
shit, I can't believe I did that. Hey, do you think I could start a new career in erotic fanfiction? Because I think I'm really good at this.
Do it.
Screw acting, screw comedy.
Fan fiction is a viable career, and we should all go for it.
I guess,
Yeah.
as we said, 50 Shades was fan fiction, so I guess you just have to change
Yes.
the names just enough to get away with it.
I didn't know that. That's wild.
Oh yeah, it's a Twilight fan fiction.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Who wrote it? Did they get a lot of money for it?
Oh, do you mean the person who wrote 50 Shades of Grey? Did they make a lot of money off
Yeah.
of it? Oh, they're
The person who wrote the fanfic.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
They eventually just sort of changed the names, and voila, it's a brand new story.
wrote the books. Yeah.
Oh my god.
For those curious, Lust is Fluid is about the villain of the movie. I believe his name is Wilson. Oh, hey, that's a little tie to Home Improvement. That's nice. But the villain Wilson falling in love with Flubber, and then Flubber going up his ass and
Ah!
basically pounding his prostate for all it's worth.
I did not even remember there was a villain in Flubber.
It's great. My favorite thing about it is the first line of that story is just, "It was not love."
It was Flubber.
Okay. And I think
I'm laughing at Maddox.
oh boy. I think with that, I mean, out of nowhere, bullseye guess. I think Cihang's going to get the points for this game too.
Yes!
I don't know
shit!
what the scoring system is, but I feel like my odds are getting low.
Well, lastly, we are going to hear our story from Clare Blackwood, who went and found one online to share with us.
I did. I'm very lazy. And also, I like weirder shit than my brain can come up with, so... Okay,
Maddox has some experience from doing the live show
yes.
version of this. Cihang apparently is brand new. How about you? What's your experience with fan fiction or erotica in general?
I did the live show once with a delightful story about... Oh no, it was Guardians of the Galaxy meets... Who was it? Was it Popeye? No.
It was Garfield.
Garfield and Guardians of the Galaxy / fiction. And that's, I dabbled in reading fan fiction, mostly like Harry Potter stuff, but like none of the erotic stuff, just like the boring, let's read cool alternate stories set in the Harry Potter universe. So
sure, yeah.
That's what I'm bringing to the table.
Okay. Do you want to tell us more about your story, or are you going to launch right
Absolutely. No, I think the only thing that I really need to preface is that the context of this is that Tony Stark, Bucky Barnes, and Steve Rogers are trapped in a cave.
Oh no, not a cave.
And not a cave, and they have to cooperate to get out. How do they do that?
Is the cave a vagina? Sorry.
No. But that's a solid guess. That's way too tame for this.
Oh my god.
So welcome, dear listeners, to Tony's Secret by Sin Queen 69. Tony glared hatefully at the rocks that trapped their way out of the cave they had been forced into for cover. Tony had to force his way out of his damaged suit, and while Steve and Bucky did the best they could to bind the wounds they received, Tony could see the super soldiers were exhausted. Tony absent-mindedly rubbed his sore breasts. He hadn't gotten around to pumping them this week, and he was regretting it.
Oh no.
What?
Yes, friends, this is where this is going.
Comes out of nowhere.
Are you hurt, Tony? Steve asked, concerned, as he saw Tony rub at his chest for the 4th time in as many minutes. No, I'm fine, just a bit sore, Tony said honestly, not mentioning that he felt unusually full. We could destroy these damn rocks if we had something to eat. Replenish our tanks, Bucky said in that damn Brooklyn accent. Oh, Brooklyn accent that made Tony want to swoon every time as he searched through the destroyed uniforms for a power bar or something. You're telling me I can barely move my legs, Steve admitted as he leaned against the rock wall, legs sprawled out in front of him and a pout on his lips. If we had something to help restore your tanks, as you put it, would you be able to get us the hell out of here? Tony wet his lips as he made a conscious effort not to look at the other two men.
Put it together.
In a heartbeat. I hate being trapped. What do you have in mind, doll?
There's the Brooklyn accent.
Thank you, I'm trying. Bucky drawled as he looked over Tony's jeans and tank top he had under his suit when they got called out. It's kind of personal, rather embarrassing, and no one knows about it, and I want to keep it that way, Tony explained, still not looking at either man as he resisted the urge to rub at his achingly full-feeling breasts. You can tell us anything, Tony, you know that, right?
Oh, man.
Steve leaned forward, concern shining in his eyes, while Bucky studied him silently. Yeah, I know. Fuck, it's just... Fuck, okay. Here goes nothing. Tony took a deep breath before stripping his shirt off, exposing his small breasts and puffy-looking nipples. I lactate. Science can't explain why, but I can. My milk is chock full of calories and everything a growing super soldier needs. Tony blurted out, keeping his eyes averted as he gave in and kneaded his sore breasts, sighing with relief. You want us to drink your milk? Bucky said, to clarify. His voice unusually husky. And get your strength back up and get us the fuck out of this cave. Then we can pretend this never happened and I can finally pump, Tony huffed, as he rubbed his thumbs over his already damp nipples while his jeans slowly tented as per usual when he milked his breasts. How do you want us to do this? Steve asked in the same husky tone as Bucky, leaning against something so both of you can access my chest. Tony sat on the cave wall in between the two men and, still not looking at him, he stared at the ceiling. Don't worry, doll, we'll make it good for you too, Bucky promised. Hand curling around Tony's thigh while Steve cupped his hip. Oh, Tony gasped, as suddenly both men latched onto his slowly leaking nipples and sucked hard. Tony grabbed onto their hair, pulling their heads closer to his chest as they suckled at his sore nipples. Oh God, that feels so good, Tony moaned, as his dick pressed against the crotch of his jeans. Steve and Bucky's free hands came up and cradled his small mounds, squeezing and kneading the flesh to force more milk out of Tony. You taste so good, doll! Fuck, if we had known, we would have milked you every damn day, Bucky groaned. As he pulled back enough to lick his lips clean before he flattened his tongue over Tony's abused nipple before pressing his lips to the nub again. Does us milking you feel good, Tony? Steve rumbled next as his hand shifted from Tony's hip to grope the tent in Tony's jeans. So good! I never thought it would be this good, Tony admitted, mouth hanging open as he panted for air. The two men drank from him, and Steve rubbed at his erection. After we get out of here, do you want us to pretend this never happened? Because let me tell you, doll, you taste better than anything I've ever had before, and I won't mind helping Steve milk your tits dry every goddamn day. Bucky offered, when Steve latched back onto Tony's nipple. Tony gasped, cheeks heating up as their words affected him. Do you want us to milk you like a cow every day, Tony? Our personal cow. We'd make you feel so good every damn day, Steve crooned, making Tony shudder at the dirty talk and how damn good it felt. We'll invest in a proper milking machine for you. When we're away on missions and let it milk you like a cow. When we get back, we'd drink all your tasty milk so none of it would go to waste. Bucky continued, and Steve ducked his head down to lap at the last dribbles of milk from his nipple. Fuck, please, yes, Tony cried out, unable to stop as he came in his pants as Bucky and Steve finished draining his breasts of milk. He felt pleasantly satisfied and empty for once. Such a good little cow. We'll take good care of you from now on, Steve praised, as Bucky kissed Tony's puffy, abused nubs with soft kisses in non-verbal praise, and Tony melted between the two super soldiers. The goddamn end.
The goddamn
I feel like for large parts of that, they weren't sexy, they were just hungry. Just talking about how hungry they were.
Oh my God, that was incredible.
I also really love, in a world with space magic and robots and superheroes, science can't explain why I milk.
I lactate. Science can't explain it, but I can.
Science can't explain why.
Oh, man.
And it was like the writer knew like one thing about Brooklyn, and it's they call everybody doll in Brooklyn.
I know.
They do it again and again and again.
Again and again. Yep.
Very kind of them to invest in a milking machine for when they're away.
I think it's very nice. It's thoughtful.
Is that a sexy thing though? Like getting milked by a machine? Like that's where I got confused about the sexiness. Like, okay, That's just
Listen,
transactional then.
If you don't find that sexy, that's on you.
Okay. Well, you guys know my kinks, so.
I mean, yeah, the machine. I think the machine itself is just practical. Maybe the humiliation aspect of it, of being strapped into a milking machine, like I think they said, like a little cow.
Yeah.
I might be adding the word "little."
I thought it was hot.
But no helicarriers fucking other helicarriers, so missed opportunity. So.
Oh man, that was great. That was brilliant.
That was so funny.
Thank you, the internet.
All right, I guess the only thing left for us to do today is to choose a winner. Who deserves to be the champion of this week's episode? I think we're all going to go around in a circle, and we can each say who we think deserves to be the winner. So, Maddox, who do you think won this week?
I mean, Cihang, because again, there was a lot of references to the fandom that were accurate in there, and that's always important to me. But also very inventive in that a thing couldn't get off because the things that were pleasuring it became it, and that gives me a lot to think about. So that's where I'm putting my vote. I enjoyed hearing about Tony Stark getting milked, but I think the point goes to Cihang.
Wow.
All right, Claire, who do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it to Cihang as well. I got to give it to people, who write their own stuff. And it was your first time writing fan fiction, and truly, I will be thinking about this for a while. I won't look at little dogs the same way again for a long time. So I'll give it to you as well.
Wow, listeners, I truly have paid them a lot of money to say this. They're both being very, very kind. Wow, thank you. I gotta give my vote to lactating hurt breast Tony Stark. That made me laugh harder than I've laughed this week. It was brilliant.
I'm so glad. Well, thanks go to Sin Queen 69.
I think the story was incredible. Absolutely. I think Cihang's story was at least as incredible, and with those bonus points, that puts it over the edge for me. So I think we're going to declare that Cihang Ma is the champion of this week's episode.
Woo! Holy shit.
I will say, I have to say, kudos, Maddox, because I never would have thought that you could write a ship. Well, no, I never thought about it. Actually, I kind of deliberately didn't think about this. The idea that two ships could fuck is truly inventive.
I try when I write to boldly go where no one has gone before.
Boo.
I loved Maddox saying dirty things, but it sounded to me from where I'm sitting like he just cringing as he's saying it. You know what I mean?
Upsetting himself.
I feel deep shame about everything I write. I maybe should get another reader who's into it, but I can't find anyone who is.
What's the line again where the queen says something about like, get inside me, everybody, or something?
I think it was just, I could feel all of you inside me, I believe what it was. Right
oh
before.
Yeah, when you said it, oh my God, so funny. You were just like, oh, I have to say this now.
I did it to myself. I wrote it down. I knew I'd have to say it, but still.
I love it.
I want to thank you all so much for appearing on this episode, writing your own stories, doing research, bringing stories from the internet. We heard some truly deranged shit today. Do you all have anything that you want to plug, promote, appearances elsewhere?
I just want to promote the thought, and the idea that I'm really looking forward to my mother listening to this because she consumes all of the things that I put out there on Facebook.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Oh, full stop. If I put this on my Facebook, she will listen to it. It's going to be a really fun next family reunion.
It's good to be supported.
She'll share it around if she gets to be an extra big fan of this one.
So, but yeah.
I love your relationship with your mother. That's incredible.
She's delightful.
Is she like one of those overbearing pageant moms who, you
no. She
said all that and you only came in second place?
No. She's genuinely very supportive and wonderful. But like, if I, to the extent that like, when I post about this, I will be getting an email from her like half an hour later, being like, "Well, that was interesting. That was different than your normal artistic outputs. I didn't understand it, but I'm sure it was very funny."
Yeah, I get that a lot about the things I put together.
Oh my god.
I love you, Mom.
Oh. I'm
Anyway.
just thinking about showing my very conservative Chinese mom. Oh my god. I don't even let her see my like regular improv shows. Just the thought of her listening to this makes my entire body curl up.
Yeah, it's probably going to be good that my mom can't figure out podcasts for the first time. I've had a podcast for a while. She's never been able to figure out how to listen to podcasts.
Oh no.
It'll be a blessing this time.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
fair.
have to explain it.
Don't worry, we can do a dramatic reading for her.
Yeah, just present it live.
Yeah, we'll act it out with like figurines of ships.
I probably do have the figurines somewhere.
My parents, I'm sure, will also listen to all of these, if just to be supportive. And then,
Oh my god.
I mean, they know that I've been running a live show version of this for some 5 years now. So
Yeah, great.
Oh my god. I'm sorry. I'm just in disbelief of like open-minded white people parents. I'm shocked.
But before I sidetrack this with talking about my mom, what was your original question, Paul?
the original question was just if you had anything you wanted to promote.
Oh, I see. I would just say, hey folks, if you want jokes and like comedy, follow me on Twitter at Clare Blackwood. That was pretentious as fuck. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I did that voice.
That's okay. I'll pitch it down in post.
I'm Clare Blackwood.
If you want jokes, follow me on Twitter.
Maddox, anything to promote?
Yeah, I'll promote the podcast I mentioned. I am the host of Break a Wish podcast, a podcast about magic wishes and their terrible ironic costs. Currently doing a movie review series. We have different episodes if you go further back about films with magic wishes in them. It's a lot of fun.
Cihang?
For me, yeah. I would like to promote Bad Dog Comedy TV. So Bad Dog Theater is online now with a bunch of shows, and it's just getting started with shows. It's going to ramp up over the winter. But I'm playing some of them. Check me out. Otherwise, check out any show, really. They're very good. Very, very good people on it.
I can vouch for that, for sure.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thanks again, all of you, for appearing on the show. I hope you all had as much fun as I always do.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Lots of
definitely.
fun.
Thank you so much.
Clare Blackwood, Maddox Campbell, Cihang Ma, and I will see all of you sexy people in the next episode.